We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Anthony Walker Jr., Miami Dolphins linebacker. I think it was the first player they signed in free agency, or at least was reported to be signed. And I'm actually a fan of the signing underrated player. Coming from the Browns, you get him quite cheap, and he's going to be your third linebacker. He's definitely the third linebacker on this roster right now, behind Brooks and Long, so, he can be good depth. Or, if they play more three linebacker sets at times, he can come in and be a quality player. The reason he comes in so cheap is because he has some of the injury history the past 2 years, missing some games. But, not having to play as many significant snaps and the Dolphins being that third guy should be good for him. And I think all around, I was pretty impressed with his film versus the run and in coverage. He does a lot of things really well. He does have some weaknesses. He's has some physical limitations, being undersized, and he's not the most explosive to have sideline to sideline range. If he makes plays to the sideline, it has more to do with his instincts. But he does a great job within the box, recognizing, filling versus the run, reading different types of run concepts. He can struggle taking on blocks, he can get taken out of plays from offensive linemen blocking him because he is so undersized. But when he's kept clean like this and he's able just to work through this cluster with multiple double teams here, he's ready to fill up into this gap, but then sees this space end up opening up, this fill, and he understands this starts to get taken away by the D lineman, so he's able to scrape over the top, take away that hole, anticipate that's where the running back's trying to go because that's where the room is, and he just stays square, patient, boom, meets him at the line of scrimmage, holds that to basically no gain. And yeah, he's just a very you could tell he was also a great pre-snap communicator. He would get everyone lined up, which is another big thing, having a guy like that on your roster that can do that. And you don't have to count on him to play significant snaps every single game unless someone goes down with an injury. But I also think he can do that if it becomes necessary, because he's a pretty solid all-around player. This is another play where he shows some great recognition skills, them trying to work some end-around action, and he just sees this play the whole way. He's initially off, this tight end is slightly off the ball, in that once he works this way, he starts to cheat to this side of the field, knowing that this toss isn't coming and that they're going to the end around, and he just reads that play the whole way. Even 21 is only here because he's man-to-man on one who's working across the field, and he's just reading him. Walker identifies it just based on the alignment of the player's pre-snap, where the tight end is, cheats across, and he does a great job staying square too. He's always square to the line of scrimmage, always working laterally. He's always in a great football position. This is exactly what you want to see from your linebacker, and then boom, get out of it initially. And then that's how he makes those plays out to the perimeter, is he just, with his great recognition skills versus the run. And honestly, I came away really impressed with his ability in coverage. I think he does a couple things pretty well in coverage. I've seen him carry tight ends down the field, down the seam, middle of the field as a Tampa 2 linebacker. Clearly comfortable doing that. I also think he does a good job underneath, passing off crossers with other linebackers, and then just reading the QB's eyes as an underneath zone defender, or as a guy that's playing as a robber type rat coverage underneath. Here he's just reading Lawrence's eyes the whole way, cheating to the outside, staying square, staying patient, and once he starts to see him load up, boom, break on it, knock that ball down in the end zone. So many situations where he almost came away with interceptions and just didn't come up with it, but he reads the QB's eyes, makes some instinctual plays. Yeah, not the most athletic, rangy guy out there, but he does a great job making up for it with his eyes, his processing, all that, which is, I think, a huge key part to being a linebacker at the next level. And you bring in Walker on a 1-year deal, and I feel pretty good about him as that third guy on your team. So lots to I think, from Walker's film, especially compared to some of the D tackles they brought in on similar deals, 1-year deals. I don't those guys will probably play, but I just didn't come away as impressed with their film. But I think Walker still has some ability, and it's just the injuries that were kind of holding him back. Here's another example of him just carrying down the seam. This is something that's really nice to see. Playing in that middle of the field, Mike linebacker stuff, and he's able to bail out, sees number 2 working vertically down the middle of the field, and then just carries him all the way, gets out of it very quickly. It's just nice to see. I mean, they don't get targeted, but there's a lot of situations where he was playing deep down the field and made impactful plays. I think this is important. If you look at what the Ravens were doing last year with their linebackers, having a linebacker that's capable of doing this is something important. So even as your third guy, you're bringing in some solid depth, and they'll probably see even a little bit of playing time from time to time. And then here's Walker. I like this initially. He's underneath. He does a good job, whether he's playing as a strong hook, weak hook defender, squeezing stuff. He's just reading the drop, sees the QB hits his back foot instantly. He's going to throw it to here, but since this guy's squeezing his zone, he tries to squeeze it down and take that away. He's able to leverage that route pretty nicely. And now once he's worked across into the other other linebacker, he's able to come off of it, see that Lawrence is scrambling, and then come down and then help stop that initially, which is really, really nice play. I like seeing him be active in coverage. As you can see, he's square, active with his feet the whole time, leveraging routes, and then once he sees the QB start to escape, get in trouble, he gets downhill and helps get after the player. That's really, really nice. So a lot of good stuff in coverage, while also being instinctive versus the run. He's a good stack and track linebacker. He's not like gonna just shoot gaps instantly. Like, he comes downhill. He doesn't make like tackles 4 or 5 yards down the field. He can make tackles around the line of scrimmage too, but he does it like with stack and tracking. Like, he'll shoot down a little bit, but then start to stay patient, stay square, work laterally, work off the back of his defensive linemen who are two gapping right here, and then anticipate where the running back's gonna cut back to. Sees that these guys have this natural leverage advantage. Taylor's ready to change direction, work through the trash, and then fill up exactly where Taylor's trying to cut back into. That type of play is really, really impressive. Really love this type of work from Walker. Versus the run and in coverage, came away pretty impressed. I think when he was losing reps versus the run, it was when he was uncovered, and offensive lineman can immediately climb to him at the next level, and he would struggle like avoiding those blocks or taking them on at the point of attack because he doesn't have the greatest size or athletic traits. They're in Wildcat here. Taylor lined up as the quarterback, and there's a lot of misdirection happening here. Two lone linemen pulling, receiver working across, the quarterback leaking out this way. So Walker has to be really patient and just work through this trash. So he just stays pretty still. He's more keen. The guard's pulling this way. He starts to cheat a little bit, and then once he's able to work all through that trash, he comes up, fills into it. Is at least able to, this is probably the type of one of the better reps I saw him taking on a block in a hole, because he is willing to go up there and throw his shoulder into him, but sometimes he gets a little bit caught off guard, and when he's not initiating the contact, he definitely gets thrown out of the play. I saw him get put down a few times. But when he can come down and initiate contact and at least just slow down the momentum, it does a pretty good job, and then he's able to take this guy on, not give Taylor much room to work with off the back. So that's just a pretty nice rep identifying that type of play, and then more just reading the eyes as that middle of the field starts to open up. He's even he'll read the eyes, and sometimes he just understands where they're trying to go. He thinks Tannehill's trying to look him off. He starts cheating to this side of the field. Knows Tannehill comes off that side to his left. Once he comes back to the middle, he starts cheating the other side, knowing that's probably where the ball is going to go. And he gets out of there, makes a play at the catch point. He's a very aware player, understands exactly what's going to happen. He opens up his hips. He's always staying square in good football position to get out of it, transition, and then make a play at the catch point, knock that down. I feel like I haven't seen many Dolphins linebackers make plays just over the middle like this, break on a QB's throw, and then knock it down. With the throw behind being with the receiver being behind them, the target. I feel like that never happens. So and when I watched Walker's film and I saw him do it 4 or 5 times in a season, I was definitely impressed with that. Some nice block avoidance here on space, because this time the center tries to climb to him, or the guard, and he loses his balance, so he's able to slip out of it this time, but he's able to still stay square and then meet the running back at the hole, hold it to only a couple yard gain, which is pretty nice. Just does a great job filling. He's working off the back of 93 here, because it looks like Walker was going to be primarily responsible for this, but when 93 takes on the center and this guard is able to attack that low hip and move him out of the way, Walker is going to replace that and then fit into the run here. So he just does a good job of doing his run responsibility, understand where he's supposed to be, and he's just a very, very smart player that he can also go out and match. He can stay underneath and just stay square, spot drop, and read the QB's eyes, but then he can also just bail out of it like this, carry tight ends and receivers down the field, and it just doesn't have to be vertically where just to run straight. He can still maintain his leverage, see that Ingram's trying to break back to the inside at the sticks, and he's just there to absolutely take that away the whole time. The ball is not coming in his direction, but it's still nice to see him understand this, and he's communicating too, because he's reading this bunch right here, and when he sees the number 2 becomes a new number 3, he's communicating to Owusu Memorial that this guy is going to cross into his zone, and he's going to carry the number 2, the new number 2, and then take him. Everything is distributed pretty nicely. Very, very good job in coverage. I really liked Walker's coverage skills overall. This is just a nice play, because this is a 3rd and long situation. They're throwing a quick little slant to 11. He's playing deep in the middle, and he just gets down and swarms the tackle and then strips it out and forces that fumble. That's a big time play. These type of situations, knowing that this is the type of play to do it on. The other guy hits him first. You're the second one there. It's 3rd and long. You know that everyone's about to swarm to the ball. they're still 10 to 11 yards away from getting that first down. Go for that strip, knock it out. You don't need to like super secure the tackle in that situation because everyone else is going to be there. And he just makes a smart heads up play and forces that turnover, which is really nice. Also, identifying and locating underneath crossers in like a third and short to medium situation. He's sitting at the six, understand the situation. Sometimes he'll gain more depth when he needs to, but here he's just sitting underneath, reading the QB's eyes. They're running like one rat, so they're playing cover one deep, and he's ratting underneath, just reading this. And once this guy works into this underneath zone, he's there to cut it off, take it away. Love to see that because the Dolphins really struggled with underneath crossers last year. And since he helps takes that away right away at the first down marker, it's actually fourth and short, by the way. Sorry, not third and short, but yeah, same type of deal pretty much. And then he's forced to throw it down the field, and that play gets taken away. So just really, really solid stuff there. More identification from Walker versus the run, just keying the pulling guards and the tight end. So he gets across while staying square, able to get over here and fill up into this cluster right here. He doesn't end up making the tackle, but he's able to slow it down. It's just more about reading the pullers. And sometimes, guys can be a little bit late. Maybe over pursues even a little bit too much. I think it's over the top a little bit, but he kind of had to make a decision based on, this combo block getting pushed back a little bit to either, stay right here and fill it up. But he gets over the top, knows there's some guys flowing also backside with the help, and he just does a good job with his recognition skills. And then it's like an end of the game situation. They have to push the ball down the field, and he just does a good job as like a Tampa 2 Mike linebacker, where they're trying to, show him some eye candy, make him carry the number 3 here, and then throw this deep dig behind it. And he recognizes it the whole way, knows he's going to have a help over the top, so he lets that start to go, and then is able to flip his hips. He's opened up, flip his hips back to normal, and then break on it, and then almost comes away with the interception. He's got to work on his hands, but he's at least making plays at the catch point for a linebacker 20 yards down the field and not falling for the eye candy. That stuff is overall pretty nice to see. I feel like I saw people talk about him as like a really solid run defender on Twitter, and not really too much people talk about him in coverage. And then I watched him, and they made a lot of impressive plays in coverage. This is Owusu Koromar. This is Walker right here. Initial eyes, follow the eyes of the receiver, knows they're trying to work off this slant flat combo. He's able to take away that initial lane on the slant. Now the QB is forced to escape the pocket, and then him help chase him down and force the slide. Just nice to see him doing some little things too. Doesn't always have to be him making a huge impact play, but and then here's him fitting versus the run. He just does a good job understanding. He sees this hole open up, so he starts to shoot down, meet the running back in the hole. He tries to cut away from him. They help, swarm tackle him. Probably could have been a little cleaner, but it is nice to see him get down, stay square, dip that shoulder so this guy isn't able to get a clean block on you, and you just understanding run responsibility, run fits. It's nice to see him be a little more aggressive and shoot a gap, but he can definitely do a lot of good work as a linebacker, playing with instinctive ability when he doesn't have to take on offensive linemen at the point of attack. He does a really, really good job. And then here's another play where he almost comes away with an interception, just trying to read the eyes of the QB, knows that they're in the back of the end zone, probably going to try to get rid of this ball. Like once he recognizes that it's a pass, they're going to try to get rid of it very quickly. Just sees him hit that back foot, starts to open up, get out. It's also a backup QB. Understand they're trying to throw some basic concepts and get in that throwing lane underneath, and almost comes away with the pick six, which would have been really impressive. So if you guys love the video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, just to get copies.